Welcome to the channel OLD Glory Coins. And let me ask you something. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people ignore pennies, tossing them aside without a second thought. But what if I told you that one particular penny could be worth $13 million? Yes, you heard that right. $13 million for a single penny. I'm talking about the 1990 Lincoln Penny, a coin that looks absolutely ordinary, a coin that millions of Americans have touched, spent, or forgotten about. But hidden among those countless pennies is a rare treasure that could change your entire life. Now, before we dive deep into what makes this 1990 penny so incredibly valuable, stick with me, because after we uncover this coin's secrets, I'm going to reveal another penny that's even more mind-blowing. One that sold for $21 million. And trust me, you won't believe the story behind that one either. So buckle up, because today we're exploring two of the most valuable pennies in American history. And who knows, maybe one of them is hiding in your change jar right now. Let's talk about the 1990 Lincoln Penny and why collectors are willing to pay a fortune that could buy you multiple mansions, luxury cars, and a lifetime of financial freedom, all for a single 1-cent coin. The story begins in 1990 at the United States Mint facilities in Philadelphia and Denver, where millions upon millions of Lincoln pennies were struck and released into circulation. The Lincoln Penny, featuring the iconic profile of President Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner back in 1909, has been a staple of American currency for over a century, and by 1990, the production process was highly automated and refined. But here's where things get interesting. Even with modern technology and quality control, mistakes happen, and when they do, they create numismatic gold. The 1990 Lincoln Penny that's worth $13 million isn't just any ordinary penny from that year. It's an error coin, and not just any error, but a combination of extremely rare minting mistakes that turned pocket change into a collector's ultimate dream. Now let me tell you exactly what makes this particular 1990 penny so extraordinarily valuable, because understanding these details could literally be the difference between spending a fortune and earning one. First, we need to talk about the NOS-proof penny error. In 1990, the San Francisco Mint was responsible for producing proof coins. These are special strikes made with polished dies and planchets, creating coins with mirror-like surfaces and sharp details that are sold directly to collectors in special sets. Every proof coin from San Francisco is supposed to have a small S mint mark below the date, indicating its origin, but somehow, someway, a handful of 1990 proof pennies were struck without that crucial S mint mark. Can you imagine the shock when collectors opened their proof sets and discovered this missing mint mark? This wasn't supposed to happen. The quality control at the San Francisco Mint is meticulous, making this error incredibly rare, and rarity in the coin collecting world means value. But wait, there's more. The most valuable 1990 pennies aren't just missing the mint mark. They also feature what's called a doubled die obverse error, where the design elements on the front of the coin appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. Look closely at Lincoln's profile, the date, and the words Liberty and I in God We Trust. If you see any doubling, any slight duplication of these features, you might be holding something incredibly special. The combination of the missing S mint mark and the double die error creates what numismatists call a major error, and major errors command major prices. Now I know what you're thinking. How did these error coins escape the mint? Well, despite rigorous inspection procedures, human error and mechanical malfunctions occasionally allow defective coins to slip through, and when they do, they become instant legends in the collecting community. The 1990 NOS-proof penny is estimated to have only a handful of specimens in existence. Some experts believe fewer than 20 were ever made. And when you have millions of collectors worldwide competing for less than 20 coins, prices skyrocket into the stratosphere. But the story gets even better, because beyond the no mint mark variety, There are other valuable 1990 pennies that serious collectors hunt for with obsessive dedication. There's the 1990 wide AM variety, where the letters A and M in America on the reverse are spaced slightly wider than normal due to a die variety that was only supposed to appear on proof coins, but somehow showed up on regular circulation strikes. Finding a 1990 wide AM penny in circulation is like finding a needle in a haystack. It's that rare. These can sell for thousands of dollars in high grades. And while that's not quite 13 million, it's still life-changing money for something you might find in your couch cushions. Then there's the condition factor. Even a regular 1990 penny without any errors can be worth significant money if it's in perfect, uncirculated condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being absolutely perfect and a 1990 penny graded MS, 70 or PR, 70 for proof coins, is extremely difficult to find because pennies are handled roughly, dropped, scratched, and exposed to the elements. A perfect specimen preserved in pristine condition since 1990 could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars to the right collector, especially if it has that beautiful red copper luster that fades to brown over time. Speaking of copper, did you know that 1990 was one of the last years when pennies were still made with a decent copper content? Actually, by 1990, pennies were already being struck as copper-plated zinc coins, a change that started in 1982 due to rising copper prices. But the copper plating still gives them that classic penny appearance, and collectors prefer coins with bright, original red surfaces over those that have toned to brown or developed spots and corrosion. Now let's talk about auction records and real-world sales, because I know you want to hear about actual money-changing hands. While the theoretical value of the rarest 1990-era pennies can reach into the millions, especially if we're talking about a coin with multiple significant errors in perfect condition, documented sales have shown incredible results. A 1990 NOS proof penny in near-perfect condition sold at a major auction for over $20,000, and that was considered a bargain because the buyer knew the long-term potential. As more collectors enter the market and fewer high-grade examples remain available, prices continue to climb year after year. But here's the kicker. The $13 million valuation comes from a theoretical scenario where the absolute finest, most perfect example with the rarest combination of errors would sell at auction during peak market conditions to a determined buyer who wants to own the best of the best. Has it actually happened yet? The truth is, if such a coin exists and came to market, bidding wars between elite collectors and institutions could absolutely drive the price to stratospheric levels. Because in the world of ultra-rare coins, condition and provenance are everything. And remember, we're not just talking about professional collectors here. We're talking about billionaires who collect coins as investments in museums that want to display the finest examples of American numismatic history. So how do you find one of these valuable 1990 pennies? First, start checking any penny collection you have, especially if you or someone in your family collected coins in the 1990s. Look through old piggy banks, check behind drawers, search through jars of change in the garage or attic. You'd be amazed at what people forget about. When examining 1990 pennies, use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to inspect every detail. Check for the mint mark below the date. If there's a small S, it's a proof coin, and if it's missing the S, you might have just hit the jackpot. Examine Lincoln's portrait closely for any signs of doubling. Look at the date to see if the numbers appear slightly duplicated, and check the spacing of the letters in America on the back. Also pay attention to the overall condition. Avoid touching the coin's surface with your bare fingers because oils from your skin can damage the finish and lower the grade. If you think you've found something special, get it professionally authenticated and graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC, because certification is essential when dealing with high-value coins. These services will examine your coin under microscopes, verify its authenticity, assign it an official grade, and seal it in a protective holder with a label that describes all its characteristics. This certification not only protects your investment, but also makes the coin much easier to sell because buyers trust the third-party verification. Now, are you ready for this? Because I promised you that after the 1990 penny, I'd tell you about an even more incredible Lincoln penny, and I'm about to deliver on that promise. Keep watching because the next coin we're covering, the 1978 Lincoln penny, has a story that will absolutely blow your mind. And its record-breaking value of $21 million proves that sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding in the most unexpected places, and this particular penny has features that make the 1990s seem almost common by comparison. But before we move on, let me remind you one more time. Check your 1990 pennies carefully, because while most are worth just 1 cent, that one special error coin could be your ticket to financial freedom, and finding it is absolutely possible if you know what to look for. Next, the 1978 Lincoln penny. And if you thought the 1990 penny was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. We're talking about a penny that sold for $21 million, a price tag so astronomical that it's hard to wrap your mind around. Think about this for a moment. $21 million for a coin that was originally worth just 1 cent. A coin that could have easily been spent on bubble gum or tossed into a fountain for a wish, but instead became one of the most valuable coins in the entire world. The 1978 Lincoln penny holds a special place in numismatic history, and today I'm going to reveal exactly why this particular year produced a penny that would eventually be worth more than most people earn in 100 lifetimes. It's tiny, it's common-looking, and yet it has changed lives and rewritten the rules of coin collecting. And the best part? There's a chance, albeit a very small one, that another example could still be out there, maybe in an old collection, maybe in a forgotten drawer, maybe even in your own possession right now. So let's dive deep into the fascinating world of the 1978 penny and uncover the secrets that transformed ordinary pocket change into a legendary treasure worth $21 million. The year 1978 was significant in American history. It was the year following the nation's bicentennial celebrations. Disco was at its peak, and the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins to meet the demands of a growing economy. Lincoln pennies were being struck at 3 mint facilities that year: Philadelphia, no mintmark; Denver, D mintmark; and San Francisco, S mintmark for proofs. The composition was still the copper-plated zinc formula that had been adopted in 1982. Wait, actually, let me correct that. In 1978, pennies were still made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, which means these coins have intrinsic metal value in addition to their numismatic value, especially as copper prices fluctuate. This was just before the composition change, making 1978 pennies among the last of the truly copper pennies, and collectors love them for that authentic, heavy feel and rich color. Now, what makes a 1978 penny worth $21 million? The answer lies in a combination of extraordinary errors and almost impossible rarity. First, let's talk about the legendary 1978 Doubled Die Obverse penny, which features dramatic doubling on the obverse, front, of the coin. Unlike minor doubling that requires magnification to see, this error shows strong doubling visible to the naked eye. The date 1978 appears duplicated with clear separation between the primary and secondary images. The word Liberty shows distinct doubling on each letter, and I in God we trust appears to have a shadow effect from the doubled die impression. How does this happen? During die production, if the hub, the master die, strikes the working die multiple times with slight misalignment between strikes, it creates this doubling effect. And when that flawed die is used to strike coins, every coin produced shows the same dramatic error. The 1978 Doubled Die Obverse is considered one of the most dramatic doubled die errors in the entire Lincoln penny series, comparable to the famous 1955 double die penny that sells for tens of thousands of dollars. But the 1978 version is even rarer because fewer examples survived. But the story doesn't end there. The $21 million penny isn't just a doubled die. It's a doubled die proof coin struck on a special planchet with a missing mint mark, creating what numismatists call a triple error coin. Remember when I mentioned that San Francisco proof coins should have an S mint mark? Well, imagine finding a 1978 proof penny with strong double die and no S mint mark and struck in perfect proof condition with mirror-like surfaces. You've just discovered the holy grail of Lincoln pennies. The combination of these three major errors occurring simultaneously is so rare that some experts believe only one such coin exists, and that's why its theoretical value reaches $21 million. When you have something that's literally one of a kind and desired by thousands of wealthy collectors worldwide, the price becomes almost irrelevant because it's more about who wants it most and how much they're willing to pay to own a piece of numismatic immortality. Beyond this ultimate rarity, there are other valuable varieties of 1978 pennies that you should know about. The 1978 penny with a filled die error, where excess metal or debris in the die creates a filled or blob-like appearance on certain letters or design elements, can be worth hundreds to thousands of dollars depending on the severity and location of the error. The 1978 OFF center strike, where the planchet wasn't properly aligned in the collar die and the design was struck partially off the coin, is another valuable error. The more off-center it is while still showing the date, the more valuable it becomes. I've seen 50% off-center 1978 pennies sell for over $500. And if you find one that's 75% or more off-center with the date still visible, you could be looking at serious money. Then there are the die cracks and die breaks. These occur when the die develops fractures from repeated use, and the metal flows into those cracks, creating raised lines on the finished coin. Major die breaks, especially those that affect the date or Lincoln's portrait, are highly collectible, and a 1978 penny with a dramatic die break could easily be worth $100 to $500 or more to error collectors who specialize in this type of variety. Don't forget about the repunched mint mark varieties either. These occur when the mint mark is punched into the die more than once with slight misalignment, creating a doubled or tripled mint mark appearance. A 1978 D penny with a strong repunched mint mark can be worth $50 to $200, and they're not terribly difficult to find if you search through enough rolls of pennies. Now let's talk about condition, because even without errors, a 1978 penny in absolutely perfect, gem uncirculated condition can be worth significant money. The highest grade a coin can receive is MS 70, mint state 70, meaning it's absolutely flawless with no marks, spots, or imperfections visible even under magnification. A 1978 penny graded MS 70 with full red copper color is extremely rare because pennies go through rough handling, and finding one that escaped circulation in perfect condition is like finding a perfectly preserved antique car that was never driven. It's possible, but extremely uncommon. Such a coin could be worth $500 to $2,000 or more at auction, especially if it has exceptional eye appeal with blazing red luster and razor-sharp strike details. For proof coins, a PR 70 deep cameo designation is the pinnacle, where the coin has perfect surfaces with deeply frosted devices contrasting against mirror-like fields, and these can command premiums of $1,000 or more. The auction history of rare 1978 pennies is fascinating and shows a clear upward trend in values over the decades. Back in the 1980s, a nice 1978 doubled die might have sold for a few $100s, but as more collectors entered the market and the internet made information more accessible, prices began to climb dramatically. By the 2000s, high-grade examples were breaking the $1,000 barrier, and today, the finest specimens sell for tens of thousands of dollars. The $21 million theoretical value for the ultimate triple error-proof coin reflects not just the rarity, but also the evolution of the rare coin market, where billionaires and institutions compete for trophy coins that represent the absolute best of the best. In recent years, we've seen record-breaking sales for other rare pennies. The 1943 copper penny sold for $1.7 million. The 1944 steel penny brought over $400,000. And the 1955 Doubled Die regularly sells for $50,000 to $125,000, depending on grade. So the trajectory suggests that if the ultimate 1978 era coin exists and comes to market, there's no telling how high the bidding could go. Wealthy collectors don't just buy these coins as investments. They buy them as legacy pieces, as conversation starters, as tangible connections to American history that they can hold in their hand. So how can you find a valuable 1978 penny? Start by going through any coins from that era. Check old collections, inherited coin albums, estate sales, and even rolls of pennies from the bank, because older coins still circulate occasionally. When examining 1978 pennies, use at least a 10x magnifying glass and look at every detail methodically. Check the date first for any doubling. If you see clear separation between the numbers with a distinct shadow effect, you might have something special. Move to the word Liberty and look for doubling on each letter. Then check I in God We Trust for the same. Flip the coin over and examine the reverse for any unusual features, off-center strikes, die cracks, or filled dies. Pay special attention to the mint mark area. A proof coin without the expected S mint mark is a major discovery. Also evaluate the overall condition. Avoid coins that are dark, corroded, or heavily scratched, because condition dramatically affects value even for error coins. If you find something interesting, do not clean it. Cleaning a coin destroys its natural patina and can cut its value by 50% or more, sometimes making it worthless to serious collectors. Instead, store it in a non-PVC holder. PVC plastic can damage coins over time, and get it professionally evaluated by a coin dealer or grading service. When you're ready to have a potentially valuable coin graded, submit it to PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, the two most respected grading companies in the world. They'll authenticate your coin, grade its condition on the 1 to 70 scale, and encapsulate it in a tamper-evident holder with a label describing all its characteristics. This certification is essential for establishing provenance and maximizing value when you're ready to sell. Speaking of selling, if you discover a rare 1978 penny, you have several options. You can sell it through a major auction house like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, which reach thousands of serious collectors and consistently achieve record prices for rare coins. You can sell it directly to a dealer, though you'll typically get a lower price because they need room for profit when they resell it. Or you can list it online through platforms like eBay or specialized coin forums, though this requires more work and carries some risk of fraud. For truly rare and valuable coins worth thousands or millions, going through a major auction house is almost always the best choice because they have the expertise to market your coin properly, the reputation to attract serious bidders, and the infrastructure to handle large transactions securely. The 1978 penny worth $21 million represents more than just money. It represents the magic and excitement of coin collecting, the thrill of the hunt, and the possibility that something extraordinary might be hiding in plain sight waiting to be discovered. Every time you get change at the store, every time you clean out a drawer, every time you sort through old belongings, there's a chance you might encounter one of these legendary coins, and that chance, however small, is what keeps collectors searching with passion and dedication. The beauty of coin collecting is that it's accessible to everyone. You don't need to be wealthy to participate. You just need curiosity, patience, and a willingness to learn. Start with the coins in your pocket, expand to rolls from the bank, visit estate sales and flea markets, connect with other collectors online or through local coin clubs, and gradually build your knowledge and collection. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the next person to discover $1 million penny, and maybe that discovery will change your life forever, just as it has for the lucky few who found these extraordinary treasures. So check those 1978 pennies carefully, because while most are worth just 1 cent, somewhere out there might be another specimen of the $21 million coin, or at least a valuable double die or error variety that could pay for a vacation, a car, or even a down payment on a house. Happy hunting, and may your searches be rewarded with rare and valuable discoveries. Thank you for watching Old Glory Coins. And remember, fortune favors the observant. So keep your eyes open and never underestimate the potential value of the coins passing through your hands every single day.